So today we're going to be working on dual lighting effects in Photoshop. Sometimes you might have seen some of these football posters. I trust you watch football, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Or you any form of sports, and you must have seen some of this beautiful posters, like maybe when Liverpool was playing against these guys in Manchester United. So
Okay.
What's happening? You might not have any bad network. I think so.
and you know already.
Emmanuel,
Open. If I downloaded this image of the internet, yeah.
you stopped presenting and you went off for a while.
Okay.
You know, I don't know the end yourself.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see it.
Sorry for the glitch there. I think I had some network issues there. That's why I went off. Okay, thank you. So this is the effects we are going to be looking at today. How you can achieve something like this with Photoshop. You can see the before and the after effect we get. So this simple dual lighting effect with Photoshop because there is a more complex way to achieve this, but you can actually achieve it using just two simple layers of two different colors in Photoshop. For the glass, we have one here and the other here, which we open. Okay, so we have both of our images open here. So the first thing we do, we can simply check, like you can just make reference to other image here. The first thing we did here was to create a solid color or a color gradient map on our image. So simply creating a gradient map on an image, you go to the adjust panel here, just below your image layers here. Adjust and you find gradient map. Using gradient map, you select and you can see the gradient map here from black to white gradient map. And we want we had this cyan color effect here. So we want the cyan. So we simply click on this on the gradient map once here, and it pops up your color adjustment here. So once from black to cyan. So select a cyan color here. Look for the cyan.
Oh my God.
I'll make sure you make sure you pick your select a bright color because you don't want any complications there. Make sure the color have high contrast there. So we have our cyan color selected. Then the next thing we do, we'll create another because we have two colors here, which is the cyan and the red. So create another one here. Gradient map selected. Now this time we want it from black to red. So we're simply going to drag the black this way and the white goes this way. Selecting the red color, red. Looks pretty good. Red. Okay, when you're done. So you have two layers here, the cyan and the red. We can just quickly rename this as cyan and this is red. When you toggle these off now, you can see the cyan underneath and the red. So let's make reference. I like making reference to the previous work done. The next thing we did here now was to add a layer mask here. So invert the layer mask for because before you start designing something like this, you have to create what do you want, what kind of effect do you want to achieve. So we have this effect of the red light behind, shining from behind the model here, and you can see this highlights. I think I should just go back to the other part here so you can see what I'm talking about. When you toggle this off, you can see, let's zoom in a bit using Control Plus on your keyboard. You can see the lighting, the lights from, we have good lights here. So we're going to make use of this lights on the model here. Let's quickly toggle this back on and invert does your selection here. Control I to invert the selection so that we can paint out, because remember using your max when you have your max selected in layer, you can actually paint what is underneath that layer. Like when you inverse it now, Control I to reverse back, you have the red. So inverse, Control I hides the red because you have the black removes and the white reveals. So we're going to paint this highlighted area now using our brush tool. Shortcut B, brush tool here with foreground color on white, just something like this. And you can see it's revealed the red underneath. So I think we should take our time here just a bit. And we have our model. So we're just going to, you don't just simply paint across, as I said earlier, you use the highlight so that you have this natural effect of lightning coming from behind of them. Let's quickly check okay, your brush soft. Because you need a soft brush. You also have those soft edges there. Simply paint across the spot here where you have the highlight selected. Simply here. Simply paint here. Paint across the light here. You have to zoom in a bit here so you can see effect of zooming out a bit so you can check. Okay, just a bit more here. Just reduce the size of our brush and just paint here. You can take your time to do this. And let's say, for instance, you paint out of proportion now. Oh, you're worried, how can I get this part here? Simply inverse your color. Remember, white reveals and black covers. So you either use X on your keyboard, it inverts your colors from white to black, or simply uses arrowhead to switch between the background color and the foreground color. So we use black now and hides so you can get rid of your mistakes. Now, okay, Mr. Kabi, so what is gradient map? Okay, gradient map. Okay, there are some tips and tricks I will show you guys today in Photoshop because remember I said there are various things in Photoshop you have to go through. For example, now you have your gradient map here. Gradient map is part of the um, photo adjustment and manipulation tools used in Photoshop, where you have your selective color, your gradient map. Your gradient map helps you to create multiple colors, like aligning multiple colors in one particular pixel. Let me use that for an example. You see some images where you see colors from maybe red to white to blue, and they are all like going through each other, not having this sharp line. So they blend with each other, where you have multiple colors. So it forms that kind of gradient effect. So you achieve that gradient effect from one color to another. You can have 10 colors having this gradient effect with each other using the gradient map. Yeah, I hope you understand that now. But if there is any question, just simply draw my attention back so that we can go through that again. Okay, so we're just simply going to paint across this place here so as to reveal that light here. X black because I want to paint off this here. Black here. Please zoom in a bit. And you can reduce the size of your brush from here through this panel here. Reduce the size of, or simply use the bracket keys on your keyboard as a shortcut. The left bracket reduces and the right bracket increases, just like a plus and minus. So simply paint over this area here where you have this light effects using the brush here. Use the brush effects. Okay. Remember, we're using the layer mask to reveal the color underneath and using our brush to paint and get our desired effect here. So when you're satisfied, you go and okay, that seems pretty good. And let's check the layer here by the face here because we get this lighting effect here. Here, a little bit here by the neck. So I just zoom in a bit. Have this little part here by the eyes. Let's give this more realistic feel here. Okay. Seems pretty good. So if you notice there is this little bit of highlight here to go out of proportion. If you like, you can actually just simply carve take this with perfection, but doesn't really matter here because we're going to get rid of them, and I'll show you how you can do that. Okay, so that seems pretty good there. I guess that was a little bit too much on the head there. The lighting is not to that area there. Just quickly reveal and see. Now switching to my red here. Just quickly paint here. Okay, seems pretty decent. Then let's paint underneath because we have the lights reflecting from this point here. Point here. Just make sure you paint where you have the lights coming from. Yeah, simply zoom in for more precision. Yeah, just gonna get rid of that part of it and just quickly let's quickly fix this area here. Yeah, need to take off a bit there. X. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just trying to give this and just simply make sure it's have this perfect look here. This looks pretty okay. Okay, we just haven't finished this part here. Just reduce this brush. Just get rid of the reds in this part here. Switching back to white as a foreground color, just a bit. Okay, seems pretty good. You can zoom out now and see the red effect from the back. Okay, Mr. Kabib, I hope you're following. Did you understand the things I just did now? Okay, let's continue. Thank you. So that looks pretty okay. But when you look into this more, you can see those other parts that are going out. You can reduce that using what we call the blending option here. So on this layer here, you double tap and you use your underlying layer effect here. What this underlying layer simply does is that it removes the black from underneath your color. Let's say, for instance, when you take this down, you see it removes the blacks behind the color, revealing. See, when you do this, let me just quickly zoom in so you can see the effect here. Now, look at that. You reduce it. See, it removes the black part here. The reason why you're seeing this part here is because this background is not completely black. That's why you can see this. If it was completely black, it would happen. So let's just take it to a point where you can see. Yeah, that seems good. But when you look at this, it seems pretty harsh on the skin, not having a subtle look. So take note, holding your alternate key here, alternate, select this, click on it to separate this part here so you can get a little bit of that desired um, effect there to make it a bit soft and not completely. Okay, that seems okay. Blending option, when I take this, it goes completely off. So we don't want that. We want to retain a little bit of the red there. Okay, that seems good. So when you're done, you click OK. Did you get that? Okay, let me go about that again. So using the blending option here, let me quickly undo. I did that just so as to get rid of some of these layers here, this background layer, just in case you don't have a perfect selection here, and make it a bit soft on the model. So you have this natural feel and this natural lighting effect. So with the red layer selected here, the space, not the mask or the adjustment layer here, on the space, you double tap on the space to bring up the layer adjustment dialog box here, and you use the underlying layer adjustment here. What this does is it removes the black from underneath whatever layer you have. Let's say you have this red color, for instance. There is a black layer underneath this red color to give you this effect. So removing this black here, it's removing the black from the underlying layer of your current effect here. So when I do this, I remove the whites. You can see, removing the whites from the underlying layer, and doing this, you remove the blacks from the underlying layer. So now we want to get rid of some of this extra thing. You just have the natural feel. We drag for adjustment. Okay, you see. Let me just zoom in here so that you can see how the effect of doing that. Now watch this part. Watch this space here. When I move my slider here, moving the blacks, you can see the blacks are no longer, this extra part no longer visible here. So, but it has this very strong and harsh effect on the model here. So to get rid of that, you hold your alternate key on your keyboard, alternate, and select on this slider here. Click on it. It separates sliding, so you can see the black line separating it. So you just click on one part of it and drag and have the separation. So taking this back here helps to bring a little bit of the details back, because when I slide all the way down, it gets rid of some of the details in the picture. So taking that back, take this back to get the real details, then you simply adjust till you get your perfect adjustment here. So taking this, you just adjust. So let's adjust here, get that bit of effect. Let's zoom out and see that. Okay. Okay, that seems okay. So when you're done, you click on your OK tool there. Hope you got that. Okay, welcome, Scubby. So let's continue. So now we have that set. We have that set there. So let's go and see what next we're going to do. So after that, we are right now this panic. So we have our smoke effect here. So I'm going to skip the smoke effect. You can see there's just a little bit of smoke in the picture. So I'm going to leave this part first so that we can just make the modifications here with these layers here. So we have double lights here. So the next thing we'll do now is to bring in lighting effect here, which I downloaded off the internet. So you can simply click on this, drag and drop on this image here. Control T, shortcuts, transform. Transform. So we just reduce the size of this. Okay. I think I have it a bit on the other way. So I just right click and rotate counterclockwise to have this, because this is how I have my image there. So I zoom back in and see. So there's a trick you can do here. You can just simply reduce the opacity here, so you can see how it fits into the model here. So I'm just going to stretch this a bit. Stretch this a bit. So simply place this in the right, because when the light seem like it's going behind the model here, that's the effect we're trying to achieve here. Yeah, that seems pretty good to me. So wait for it to transform. It's taking time because the picture is a bit large, so you just have to transform. Okay. And there we have our image. Okay, so let's simply increase the opacity back to 100 so that you can see what we are working with here. So now we have our image, and we have to change the blend mode because we want our image to be visible and not allow it to cover the model in the picture. So with the layer here selected, let's rename this as light. With our light layer selected, we go to change the blend mode, and we'll be using screen, because the blend mode screen, what it does is that it removes the blacks from the background, leaving just the current the correct content on that in your image. So each of these blend mode have their various effects. So we went through this the last time. So we're going to be using the blend mode screen for this effect, because we want to get rid of all the blacks, take it to normal, all the blacks in the image here so that you can see our model. So we use screen. Okay. When we have lighting effect selected here, but you can see it's going in front of the model here, and we want this to go behind our model, like this circular thing of the light going around and him being at the middle. So the way we can achieve this, you can just toggle this off. You can see how we can do this. Please, I hope you're following to this test, and Kabir. Okay. So we're going to continue now. And to select this, you use your selection tools. Any of your selection tools, go want to select just the model and away from the background so that you can see how I can get that lighting effect behind of our model. So remember, we can see using our layer mask also. But now with your model layer selected, okay, you select any of the ones, two of your audience selection tool or your lasso tool, any of the selection tool you prefer. Let's simply use the one two here, any of them here, just to bring this option here. Select subject and select end mask. So we use with your selection to selected, you select the select subject tool here. Click on that and wait for Photoshop to do the magic and select the model itself. This is a very fast way of selecting an object, but it's not very accurate. But for this, instance is pretty okay. We'll just wait. Sorry, my system's a bit slow. We'll just wait for the Photoshop to select the image itself. If you have a faster system or a less clogged up system like mine, this process will be faster. Just have to wait, select subject. Okay, now we have our progress selecting subject. Okay, wait for it to select a subject. You can do this auto select. Load. Okay, finally. I think we're making progress here. Okay, there you go. Our model has been selected automatically by Photoshop doing its work there. Okay, so now we're going to toggle this back on so that you can see how we're going to make the lighting effect behind of our model. And on the light layer here, you created layer mask. Okay. Oh, okay. Click that. Control Z. Oh, I was supposed to. Let's undo that. Let me see if I can quickly save this selection. So waiting for the system to go through that again. Save the selection. I don't want to go to that process of waiting for it to go to selection again. Let's save the selection there. And let's put this back on. Put the layer mask on your light layer there first, because when I have the selection on and I created my layer mask, it caused the model to cut into that part of my layer mask there. So I'm going to go back now and load selection and model. Yeah, okay, that's what I had there. So now with our layer mask selected here, Mr. Kabi, I hope you got that. You can go back again. You understand why I had to save my selection, because I didn't want to go through that process of loading again, because I was supposed to create a layer mask first on our light layer before making that selection. So now that I have my selection on of our model here, I simply go to my light layer using my brush. Using my brush tool there, selecting my brush tool there, or using the selection B, Let's increase the brush to a bit. Simply paint. Okay, foreground color white. You see, I'm trying to paint and nothing is happening there. Let's select the mask layer there. Proceed to do that because I was cleaning the actual layer here. Selecting the mask layer, I can simply just clean this. Okay, there you go. Clean this. It would clean just the part of the selection there. Let's say we want to clean this part here, and I don't want this light here going in front of my model. Now we made that clean error there. Simply Ctrl Z. That's why you have the layer mask selected to get rid of any the non-destructive form of editing. You get your details back without any stress. Just simply zoom in a bit and brush size and simply just paint, and it paints just within the area of the selection there. So you can see a little bit of part of the beard here is not selected. So you can just simply do that when you're done. So Ctrl D to deselect, and you have this effect of the light going behind the model here. So now let's quickly touch that part there. Let's reduce the size of our brush and paint here. Reduce hardness, opacity, bring down a bit, and simply print here to bring that detail back there. Down a little bit of detail. Make too much error there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Kabi, hope you're following. Okay, thank you. All right. So when you do that, now the next thing we do, you have that selected there. Let's quickly check back to our move to and see the next effect we had there. So now we have our cyan color on the left hand side here and the red color on the right hand side, sorry, on the effect here. And to do this, we need to create, we already have our cyan and red here. So we need to just make a copy of them. Such as when you say, with your cyan selected, Ctrl G makes a copy of your cyan color. Now, another quick tip. So when you are working in Photoshop and you try to make your colors a little bit more interesting and more darker, you see when I made that copy, you see it's a bit bright, and I made that copy Ctrl J, it give more contrast and more detail to the work there. So that's another fast way you can increase your detail when working with photo manipulation in Photoshop. You can just quickly double the layer, duplicate the layer, and it gives more detail. So now with the layer duplicated here, I'll simply move it above to our light effect layer here, and you see now the cyan is on top of every layer here, meaning it's on top of each part here. But we want this cyan just on our light layer, and to do this you have to do what we call clip maxing. You clip max your cyan color to just our light effect layer here. And to do that, you simply hold the alternate key and over in between the lines of the light layer and the cyan layer, it gives this downward arrow shape, and click on this. And now you have your cyan color inside of just a light effect here. Let's quickly undo that. Another way you can do this is simply on the cyan layer, you right click, you have what you call clip masking, create clip marks here, create clipping marks. And when you select that, it does the same effect for you there. I hope you understand that. Mr. Kabir. Okay. You understood what I just did right now about the clipping marks effect, right? All right. Okay, let me go over that again. Let me just quickly go over it again. Clip marks effects. Control Z, let's undo that. Clip marks means for you to put a particular layer. I'm going to give an illustration how you can quickly do this after the class. So you can quickly put a particular layer inside, like clip marks, and it's restricting it to just a particular layer here. And the first way to do that is holding your alternate key over in the line between both layers, which you want to clip marks to, and select. It goes. It's now the cyan copy layer here is clip marks to just this light layer. Another way of doing that is simply right clicking, and you have your clip masking option here to do that. So now we are going to want to restrict the cyan color to just the right hand side of our image here. So now on the layer mask selected, you go to your gradient 2 here, white to black selected, just like um, the gradient map. It's just like the gradient map. Your gradients 2 here, white to black selected, and simply click on this and drag. So you can see the cyan is restricted to just one side of the image. You can simply experiment to see which of the gradient tool works best. Now this line is straight because as I'm doing this, my shift key is I'm holding down my shift key. If I release my shift key, you can see we won't have a straight line. So when you hold your shift key, you have the straight line no matter how you move. So let's see this. It should be better. I'm gonna increase that a bit. And just down a bit. Let's long distance. Okay. Now you have the cyan restricted to just one part of the lighting effect there. So now to create, you have our red already created here. We can simply duplicate this layer as we did with the previous one, using Ctrl J, and bring it above the lighting effect and the cyan copy here. Now we have to get rid of this underline layer adjustment here. And to get rid of that, you right click, clear layer style. You clear every add modification to that layer. And there you go. So now we're still going to do the same thing, click maxing this red layer to just the light layer, holding out alternate and click mask. So now we want this kind of gradient here, not this one here. So we can simply just copy this gradient, holding your alternate, click on this. That will be a selection. Ctrl D. Holding your alternate, click and drag. And you have that box here, replace mask. You replace yes, and now you have that mask here. You can see it's blue here and it's red here, but because we have to inverse that selection. So you inverse this using Control I, and the selection here is inverse. So let's get rid of a little bit of this color so that we have more red showing. Control V to have more reds. You can simply quickly do that by using our brush tool with the layer selected here because I want more reds to be visible here. Increase the size of the brush and simply just paint. So when you paint, you can see the effect here. Simply just paint here to view more of the reds here. Because one does red revealed more at this part of the lighting effect here. So now when you look at this, you see, let me go back to our move to, it's a bit dark, the red's a bit dim, and we can brighten this by using uh adjustment tool and using the curves adjustment tool here to brighten up that red. So our curve adjustment is selected and simply reduce the. Okay, now you see I'm doing this and the effect is all over the image because I didn't clip max it to just our lighting effect layer. So I go back and clip max it. You see it's not clip maxed. So I clip max it, putting my alternate over it and clip max. So the effect now is just on the light layer there. So I just simply increase this, increase the brightness a bit. Oh, how does shine? Let's not wait too much that we don't lose much of the details here. See, you can play with the curve and get your desired effects. Yeah, that seems pretty okay, bright enough. Let's reduce the bit to get more. Yes, get the desired effect there. That seems okay to me. Now you have your red and your white cyan. So let's see if there's any other thing here. Okay, now our smoke layer here. Let's quickly bring in our smoke layer. Simply click and drag and drop our smoke effect here. And we'll simply resize this. Simply resize it to layer 1. You okay? You click on good. Now we have to move this down a bit because it's going to cover each part here and place it there. Now you can see our model. So we'll simply change the blend modes from, because we want to get rid of the darks, the blacks in the smoke here. Change it to screen. And now you have the smoke effect. So it's a bit too much. You can simply reduce the opacity there. Okay. Now let's reduce the fill. Is the opacity still? Just have this little smoky fog like effect there. So there you have it. You have our effect here. So let's group this so that we can see the before or after. We see I can simply group all of this by simply clicking on the first one and down to this, holding shift, click on this, right click and group from layers. Or I like the shortcut, simply drag this and to this folder here and drop. And you have the group there. So now you have the before and the after. The before and the after. So that's a quick way you can do your lightning dual light effect in Photoshop. Please, Mr. Kabi, did you get that? Okay. So I said I was going to just show some tips and little bits of tricks when it comes to Photoshop. You can get rid of anything at all, anything you can imagine. You can get rid of it using Photoshop. So now let's quickly just let's close this so that I can bring some things now. Okay, remember, before closing this, when you're done with your image, remember to save. So you save using File, Save, because we have to save our images so we don't lose our image in case of any power failure or anything here. So save. So just give my system a little bit of time. Just have to be patient. Thank you. Exactly. Nothing practicing won't fix. So you just have to practice and you get the hang of it. So now you go to save on your computer. We'll do that again. Control, File, Save. Save on your computer. Once you save, we have to save this. Remember, always save it as a PSD Photoshop file first. This means a dual light effect 2 because I have dual light effect 1. Save as a Photoshop file first so that you can come back and make any modifications to your file there. Then now you save as a JPEG, save as 827 file, save as, save on a computer. I click on JPEG here. Not JPEG 2000 is an older format of JPEG. So simply use a new JPEG, which most computers and phones and everything these days understands. Lighting dual effect to save this highest quality maximum. Okay. And there you go. You have your image saved. So we can simply close this and simply close this too. Okay, a quick recap before I close this. Let's just quickly do a recap of the things we did first. And quickly, let's toggle these off so that you can see. We'll just go through it once again for a quick recap here. So the first thing we did now was we created a cyan layer using our gradient map here. Created a cyan layer gradient map and also created a second cyan layer gradient map from black to red to get our red effect here. Cyan, go to our red effect, and we inverted the layer mask to black so we can paint the part showing the lights, where the lights are coming from on the model light effect here, just as you have the cyan effect all over the front part here. Then the next thing we did underline adjustment to get rid of the blacks underneath your image here. Then we brought in our lighting effect, where we then selected, you made a selection of our model to create this effect, cleaning with our brush tool here. Then we duplicated our cyan layer, click maxing it to the light effect layer there, and using our gradient tool to achieve the one colored section there. Then we did that for our red too also. Then we made little adjustment using our curve tool. But we made each duplication of this layer holding our control and clicking and drag to make that effect. So that's how we get this effect in the Dwellite effect in Photoshop. So that's very fast skill you're having your Dwellite effect. So I'm going to show you now another quick um, trick here. Let's click open a new file there. And that's what we work with now. Let's quickly so I'm going to show you that you can simply get rid of anything. Let's work with it using Photoshop. Sometimes maybe you see a very beautiful image that you want to use to work, and that image is, you see it is so fine, and but you have this watermark effect on the image here. Okay, let me quickly, let's load another picture there. Okay, I think I can use this. No, I want to show you an image that is perfect. Something perfect that you can use. I want to do it from the scratch. Let's make use of this. Now you have an image like this. Mr. Kabi, hope you follow. You have an image like this, and you want to probably make use of this in your Photoshop, or maybe in any photo manipulation you want to do. Now, you're wondering, how do I get rid of this writing here? Because this image is obviously watermarked, and you're supposed to pay for this to get the non-watermark in. But it's a trick as designer, you can quickly get rid of each and every one of this thing here using the selection tool. And we're going to make use of a feature called the fill picture here. So you have here fill. Fill here. Sorry, Mr. Kabi, can you just give me a minute? Thank Sorry, guys. Please, I we have to quickly disconnect this class. Mr. Kabi, just give me some minutes, and I will have to connect back. I have an emergency. I'm so sorry. Hello? Anybody still there? It's a Kabi, Victoria. Sorry for the delay. Okay, thank you for staying tuned with me. I had a little bit of emergency where I was lecturing. A snake came into the premises, so I just had to assist in taking it down. All right, thank you for waiting. Okay, so where was I? Okay, yeah, these images here. I'll show you a quick trick how you can remove these watermarks that are present here. So when you have your two selected your lasso 2, let's use our lasso 2, or let's simply use our polygonal lasso 2. So you click on this, simply click on this here, just create a selection across your point here. Okay, now you have this here. So with your selection selected here, I want you to, yeah, it's set to, thank you very much. So I want you to look at this, follow, just follow. Now, since we are working on an image which the background is locked here, with my selection selected, with my image background locked, I click on backspace. Now, the backspace option on my keyboard here brings up your fill option. If, for instance, you don't have your background locked, you can click on Shift and backspace. Let me show you how this works. Let me just show you. Let me unlock my background. My background unlocked now. If I click on backspace, it simply deletes that part of my picture. So let's get that back. But I'm using Shift and backspace. It brings up your field option here. So let's lock that back. So now we click on backspace. Select, make sure it's on content aware. Content aware too helps the Photoshop recognize the background or the environment of around that your selection. So with our content aware selected, yeah, you select OK. So you select yes, I'm coming. You select OK and watch the magic. That's the magic. You see what happens there? So you Control Z to select. It totally removes that particular thing there. Hope you got that. So that's just it totally removes that particular watermark selected there. So let me do it again for the next watermark here. So select, zoom in. Let's do this on our shirt. Select this, select this. So please make this selection here. And backspace with your background layer log, backspace, content aware, normal 100, okay. And Ctrl D to select. There you go, gone. Okay, let me come again. So now let me do this for just this one here. I select this, make my selection. Click add my selection here. I have my selection here. Because let me go over this again. Because my background is locked, I can simply just click on backspace and it brings my fill option, my fill die box here. But if I want to, let's say for instance, the background is unlocked, I'm working on an image when it's not the background. And if I click on black backspace, it deletes that particular selection on my image. So for me not to avoid deleting my selection, I can, instead of backspace when it's locked, you use shift, holding shift, then you press backspace. It brings up your fill die box here. Did you get that? Okay. So bringing up the fill die box here, and you click on, make sure it's on content aware. Content aware, as I said earlier, helps you helps Photoshop understands the background of your image. So contents are well selected. Okay, there it goes. So you control D to deselect without out of the image. So let's just quickly select each of this. So I'm going to be working with my background unlocked, or let's simply make our background locked for easier work. So backspace, content aware. Okay, now let's select this. Please select this here. Backspace, content aware. Okay, just walk around, make your selection here. Backspace, content aware. Just quickly make the selection here. Backspace, content aware. So just pick backspace, exception content aware. Okay. Control D to select. Now let's zoom in because now we're getting to the more technical part here. You select this. Let me just add to my selection here. Add to my selection here. Backspace content aware. Okay, there it goes. So let's do this here. And remember, it's on add selection, so I can make another selection here because it's on add selection. So now I have both selection back. Have that there. So let's quickly just do this. You can do this. You can do this in bulk. Yes. Let's select all of this. Select all of this. Select all of this. Please select this. You can make. I'm able to make multiple selection because I have my add to selection selected here. So let's select this. So I'm going to select each and every one of them that have similar background here. So I'm avoiding selecting the one on the orange or that's because you have to do that separately. So I must just mess up things there. So let's select that. So select this here. Have a plain background. So let's get rid of this first. Content aware, backspace, content aware option there. Okay. Content 100. Okay. And it fills those layers up. Control D. They're done. Yes, the shift key is selected with backspace only when you have your layers unlocked. Because if your layer is not locked and you use backspace only, it's going to delete your selection. They're going to remove the parts of the pixel to make it transparent. So if your layer is unlocked, you hold shift and backspace. But if your layer is locked, you use just backspace only. Okay. And I was able to select all of them. Okay, the add selection. Let me do that again. Let's do this. Let's quickly select this. Now, when you have your selection to select either your magic wand or this, which we have selected now, as I told you in the previous class, you have your new selection here, add to selection. When we're talking about selection, went through this, subtract from selection and intersect. So let's say I have new selection. I select this here. Now I want to select this other one here. If I try to make a selection, you see the other one disappears because I'm not on my add to selection layer here. So now With the selection here, let's click add to selection. You can see there's a bit of plus on the mouse icon here, unlike the new selection, it's just empty. So add to selection. So that add to selection, now I can have a new selection without the previous selection disappearing from that part there. So with my layer being locked now, I can use backspace. But now because most times you won't have your layer locked, let's do this. Unlock our layer now. I hold shift backspace to bring out the fill option, not backspace, because it's going to delete that part of my selection. So shift backspace, then okay, and Control D to select, and then you have your selection off. Mr. Kavi, hope you got that now. Okay, you're welcome. So we can simply just quickly, let's do that for this other part. So I'm going to be working with my layers unlocked now. So shift, okay. Just simply select that. Shift backspace to bring up my feed option, content aware, okay. And it automatically detects the background. So you see, you can remove anything at all. You can use this method to remove anything at all from Photoshop. When I used my backspace there, forgetting that my layer was unlocked. So shift backspace. So most times I prefer using the layer locked there, so as to help for easier movement there. Instead of holding shift and backspace, I can just use my backspace alone. You get used to it. So now let's just remove these ones around so that we can get to the more technical ones. Sometimes it can be technical, sometimes it can be technical. So I'm going to use another illustration to get that more technical part, especially when you have the watermark across the face of your model, because using backspace there won't in backspace. Using just your content aware too when it comes to that part there won't be enough. Especially when you're working across the face of your model, you have some little bit of distortion here and there. So let's do this here. G backspace. We'll have our content aware arranged there. So let's see any other part here. Okay, there is a big one here. So just quickly get rid of that. Content aware. Content aware, so we have that there. So now we're going to work on let's just quickly do the hand here. So when it comes to the skin, you just have to take it with a little bit of ease here. Try to select that shift backspace. Okay, now you can see the model here. Part of the cloth is inside the skin. You can see part of the cloth is inside the skin there, so just give me a minute. Part of the skin there, so Control D, and simply let's undo that. Just add this part here. So we're going to add that part there. So Control Shift backspace, content aware. I'll show you how you can get rid of that. I can get rid of that there. No need, no need. So we're just gonna select this here, backspace, content aware. You can see you gradually fill up that existing layer there. So now we're going to just walk across this part here so we can get more. Walking on the screen is much more technical compared to when you were just walking on the particular layer there. So let's just select this highlighted part here. So with the skin, you have to have lots of patience when walking. See, that's much more better. Hope you follow it. Okay, so you just have to have a little bit of patience with the skin there. So that's technically how you use your content aware. So let's just quickly wrap this up so that we have a nice image to look at without the watermark, because this is really a big issue when you're trying to select to use some certain image for your designs and you find yourself not being able to use those beautiful images just because they are watermarked and you can't see if that will work a trick there. Okay, it didn't work a trick. We have to do that gradually. First, let's quickly select this part here where you have the whites. B, select this here. So you have to do that till, okay, that seems pretty good. Then let's get rid of this part of the skin here. So you see, when I try to go big, you have issues using the content aware to there. So you can simply select this part off again to be and leave that up. It's picking some parts. You know, content aware just there's another tool here that uses this content aware is your where's it again? That to your spot healing tool. So you can see the content aware here option is selected. So when you click on this here, because you use the spot healing tool when you working with photographs, it makes things a bit easier for you there. So let's just walk a bit there. See what we can have. Let's go back to you see you make use of multiple tool selection. Yeah. Sometimes you have to be patient and reconstruct a certain image. Okay, for instance, now I'm going to reconstruct this part of my image here so that you see what I'm talking about. Backspace, and now that looks really visible, but when you zoom out, it's not so much visible there. So we're just going to take this out a bit and see how that works. So that looks pretty good. So that's, you can just get rid of that when you want to do your own. So use the same technique I use here to get rid of those parts there. So the last thing you will do when you are done, you can simply just crop this part here instead of using that container. We're using C, crop, or simply use this part here. Select your crop and cut out that part. When you're done, okay, and crop. Let's simply cut out that part there. That seems okay. So there you have your image free from so just because of time, because we're times going to be up for this online class. So this is how you can simply remove watermark in your image so you can use it in your Photoshop. I hope you enjoyed that quick tip, and I hope you enjoyed the class for today, Mr. Kavi. And to you all not present for today, I hope you'll be here for tomorrow's class. Since tomorrow is going to be our last class. It has been a very wonderful experience so far, and I must commend you guys for keeping up with the class because taking online courses is really not easy, but you guys made that possible. So, Mr. Kabi, thank you once again for staying till the end of this class. So, I hope you enjoyed the lecture. You're welcome, sir. You're so much welcome. So, that's how you can simply make some changes using the content that way too. So, on your own, you can go and try this out in different images. Thank you very much, Mr. Kabi. So, you can try that out in different images and see what you can do. You can even get rid of maybe you're having a cup in an image or you see someone drinking coffee, you want to get rid of it. You can get rid of anything exactly using the content aware field too. That's a way it helps the Photoshop understand and gets aware of its environment around it. So thank you very much and have a great evening. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.